Hey, am I peeking? Am I peeking? Holy moly. Are we live? Oh, hi. My name is Mr. Canuck. I live in Canada. I live in the woods of Canada. It's a nice day out. How are you? I'm practicing to be an Alexa. I heard there's an opening for Alexa. You
Oh,
want to ask me something?
it's
Are
really
you live?
weird. Yeah, there's something weird going on. Hold on. I turn
I don't
hiding
see
on here.
I don't
Um,
see anything on D Live. Not
there
yet,
we go. I
anyway.
think it's gone away. Good. It had the signal call controls up on the screen. I didn't want those on there. So I got rid of them.
Oh, okay. Now I think. Oh, there we are. I see me. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Move back a little bit. That's interesting. That view that I'm getting on the iPad is not as zoomed in, but I can live with it. I can just sit back here.
No, I like.
Hi,
No,
everybody.
you're better with that. You're zoomed just right. It's perfect.
Yeah, I know. I think it's wonderful. I got the pond behind me with the reflection. Hey, everybody. This is just a test. We got the big show coming up in about 8 minutes. We're going to be covering the pros and cons of living in
Okay,
the
Google.
city and the pros and
Turn on
cons of
Smart
living in the
Strike.
country. Are you talking to me?
I'm talking to Google.
You're interrupting me to talk to Google? Oh man, I
Yeah.
feel dissed.
My camera's
Google's
all.
more
I
important than
washed
talking
my
to me.
hair and now it's like all fucked up.
Oh man.
I look like Waldo.
Yeah, you sort of do actually.
But
Well, that's just us being casual, but we'll get more serious in about 7 minutes, I think.
I hope.
Maybe not. You think?
But well, yeah, what are we? We're gonna start off with urban versus rural life in general.
Yeah.
This is a
Yeah. Education segment. Yeah.
it's a little education segment that we're gonna try, and then we're probably gonna work on a future show that's more in depth. That'll probably take up a good chunk of another future show, but there's a lot to go over.
Yeah. Well,
We're going to keep it
we're not
simple
going to
this
be.
time, though.
We're not covering healthcare. We're not covering education disparities. It's just an overview. And everybody kind of already knows this, but it's fun to go over it anyway. In case you bring this is good for the kids because it's basically 101. So it's educational entertainment, we call it. And then we'll get really, really confused because the Yankees going to go into the crypto mines and dig up the information as to what is going on now. And then we got some bizarre. We also have upcoming show highlights. So what we're going to be featuring in the next few months on the Canuck and Yankee show. So I think we're going to get out of here, and we'll come back in about 6 minutes with the big shoe for March 13th. And welcome to daylight savings time. In case you people didn't set your clocks back, you're probably well, actually, you probably thought we should have started an hour ago, but
Yeah, my PC workstation is all messed up. I thought it was 3 when it was 2 o'clock with daylight savings here on Eastern time zone. It thought it was 3 p.m. So I had to go in and resync the network clock. It took like half a minute. So yeah, a lot of people's devices sometimes it screws up daylight savings.
Yeah, all of mine seem to do it okay. Of course, I got all Mac and stuff, and
Yeah, my Macs usually always get it right, but I have problems on Windows 10 all the time. Daylight savings.
I got a Madam Butterfly tablet too. Madam Ming Butterfly.
Madam Yahweh. Madam Butterfly Yahweh tablet.
I got that free. And today we're using a ninth generation iPad for streaming me, my beautiful face, because it's a nice camera, and we're trying it out on Wi-Fi, but it seems to be working okay. And so, yeah, we'll be back, and we're going to go on YouTube for the main show. This was a D Live exclusive for all you D Livers.
No, we're on snooze. We're on the snooze tube.
Are we on the snoozers?
And everywhere else, Trovo, Twitch, Twitter Live, and Float.app. So we're there.
There I am. Oh, man, this is so nice. I like this. Every week I get to sit here and get watched by a few 100 million people. All right, we'll be back.
Yeah, I'm going to actually reset the connection because I didn't have the title updated. So I want to make sure that propagates throughout everything. But I'm just going to stop stream, restart it real quick. I don't think anybody will be disrupted.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Disruption in the world. We're small change for disruption these days, man. All right, we're going to get out. We're going to get back in, and we're going to kick some butt.
All right. Later.
Sunshine, baby, sunshine. Look at this. I got sunshine on my leather jacket.
Okay, Google. Set smart
Oh,
strip
he's
to
talking to Google
50%.
again. Man,
Sure.
I tell you, this
Setting
guy,
smart strip
the
brightness to
Yankee,
50%.
Okay, Google. Set
has
smart
it.
strip to blue.
Oh man.
Changing smart strip to blue.
The sun's going to go down as the show
Well,
progresses. I'm going to have to adjust the lights again.
well, yeah, I'm sure people really need to know about that. Welcome to the Canuck and Yankee show, where the
Wow.
Yankee is now completely addicted to Google. He talks to Google more than he talks to us. What do you got to say about that? Are you becoming like part of the, what do they call it? The living web or the um,
I'm slowly getting to the point where the end game is total, complete, digitized consciousness,
that's
where
what I
I
was afraid
will
of.
forego my physical presence on Earth.
Hmm. Yeah, well, don't do anybody any favors. All right, welcome to Canuck and Yankee show. It's March 13th. We're only 1 week away from the equinox, people. Spring. We made it. I don't know. I'm talking to all you people that don't live in California, but up here in the north, and even where anywhere in the north, even Connecticut's in the north, and so we are about to enter spring of the year of the tiger, and we were wondering where you live. Where do you want to live? Now, this is all stuff you probably know, but I'm going to go over it anyway. It's just out of something called acwell.ca, pages urban versus rural life advantage disadvantages. All right, rural, the pros, the advantages, the cost of living. Um, Typically, it's lower, definitely. In general, because we make more of our own things. Me, I live in the rural area, by the way. Okay, more affordable housing. Yes, that's true. However, that is changing somewhat, but it is still more affordable. That doesn't mean affordable. More space. Now, that's totally true. I have a 2 acre parcel which backs onto the wilderness. So theoretically, if I had that in the city, what do you figure? 2.5 acres, really nice wooded property in Vancouver would be worth about 10 or 12, 20, $30 million. And my place is worth about a half a million on a good day. Proximity to nature, I was just talking about. You can walk out of the back of my property, people, due north, and eventually you would come to the North Pole without going over more than 2 or 3 roads and encountering no communities. So if you're looking for something to do, come on and visit and try to walk to the North Pole from here. Unfortunately, there's mountains and stuff in between. Slow paced lifestyle. Oh, yeah. Definitely true there. So paced that sometimes you can't get anything done. And you know your neighbors. Yes, you get to know your neighbors because you're fighting off the same bears and shoveling the same driveways and stuff. All right, the cons: fewer job opportunities. Why most people in my area create their own employment as best they can. There's fewer businesses, so therefore it's harder to get things when you want them. Access to the
I mean,
utilities. You have my
you got
power.
more mom and pop stores, businesses than in
Yeah.
urban.
Well, yeah. Well, in urban areas now, we'll get to the urban area pros, and definitely this is the disadvantages of the rural area. Fewer job opportunities, like I say, a lot of people create their own jobs. Fewer businesses. Um, Access to utilities. Definitely, we have to have our own water system here. I'm in a water community group, and also our power goes out at least 3, 4, 5, 6 times a year. Home and property maintenance. Well, yeah, if you have more, listen to this. If you have more space in a rural area, but that means you have to take care of it. Well, like, duh. Yeah, we spend a lot of time outdoors taking care of our property. We love it. Lack of public transportation. This is huge, especially here in Canada, where Greyhound ditched Canada and the federal government didn't step up. We have no mass transit or transit out of here. Well, there's a couple private people doing buses now, but it's definitely public transit. It's a bus that comes out from town. It's not too bad, but it's not as good as you guys have it, urban people. All right, urban, more people. Cities are full of people. Duh. Yeah, well, there's more people, so you can see people more. Increased diversity. That is true because I very rarely see anything that doesn't look like a white Caucasian. Um, okay, cultural hub. Yeah, definitely. Fortunately, the town that I live next to has a fair amount of culture, but in these smaller areas, um, I get jealous when my friends tell me down in Vancouver they're going to go see a blues artist or go to a hockey game. Um, Available public transport. Yeah, they have that. They spend a lot of money on it too. More job opportunities. Yes, there is. More access to utilities. That is true. Now, of course, the city cost of living. Woo! You go out for coffee and go out for anything in Vancouver. You're going to spend $20, even if it's just to go out and get a pack of gum or something. Competitive job market. Well, yeah, but if you're good, you'll get the job. Way less space. We were talking about that. More crime. We're going to go into crime later, but there is more. Now, the pace of the city. It's pretty peaceful out here. The pace is really easy. Stress level's pretty low on that. And pollution, which we're going to go into in a minute too. Uh, Definitely way more pollution than you have. Then they go over suburban, and I don't know much about suburban. I never really lived in suburbia. Um, it's all like kind of a mix in between. Suburbia, the big cons, of course, are trying to commute to the city, reliance on cars, blah, 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 blah. And I don't know if you want to show the people these maps of the urban sprawl. It's not really necessary, but it is kind of interesting. That's the ICIRadioCanada.ca
I can
link.
switch over to it.
And I mean, it's kind of interesting because it just shows how the cities are sprawled out. Um, in some cases, the density's actually gone down in the cities, but it's sprawled, and that goes back to the suburbia and the semi-urbia. They're like just on the outskirts of the city, but not really suburbia as we think of it with the lawns and stuff. It's more kind of in between, like Yonkers or something. I don't know what Yonkers is like these days, but back when I was a kid, Yonkers was kind of funky. Uh,
So which link is this? That's under
it's
urban sprawl, right? It's got to be
yeah,
this one.
ICI Radio Canada. And if you scroll down a little bit, there's just some really cool looking maps and stuff.
Whoa. So that's Toronto.
Yeah, and you can click on different
Montreal.
cities just underneath it.
Is that
Yeah.
even rendering?
Mm-hmm.
I guess that is rendering. That's Hamilton.
Yeah.
25 kilometers. 25 kilometers.
It's grown a lot.
Here's Vancouver.
Yeah, you see now, you can see where it just, go back to Vancouver for a second.
Now I'm on Vancouver right now.
Okay, it just stops. And that's because it's water. And then south of Vancouver is the United States. And north of Vancouver are these huge mountains. So that's why it's spreading east, and that's the Fraser Valley that got flooded. Remember that whole flood thing? But it's kind of a cool link for you folks. I imagine they have other things that look like that, but it's just basically a 3D visual of where people are living. And only thing I liked about the city really was working. Being a professional musician, I really did enjoy having the steady work. But I didn't like the crime thing. And you can go back to camera view if you want, because I'm just going to be reading for a little while. These are old statistics. The first one, 1995. U.S. metropolitan areas homicide rates claims 11 victims per 100,000, as opposed to the countryside that had 5. More current information I'm getting out of Gallup.com. Americans who say they live in a big or small city are significantly more likely today than in 2020 to indicate their household was victimized by crime. So this is very current. 35% of cities residents, up from 22% in 2022, say a member of their household was a victim of one or more of the 7 crimes. I guess there's 7 key crimes. The current figure is also higher than in 2019, which was 26%. And that kind of blows my mind that a third of everybody that lives in the city has a family member that got caught up in a crime. 19% of both suburban and town and residential areas say their house was victimized by a crime in the last 12 months. And I've been thinking about that. Okay, 19% in the rural areas, but I think the arrest rate is higher in rural areas. And like for example, let's say you're smoking some crack on the street here in Nelson, which is a small city, right? If you did that, you get arrested and you go to jail for sure. But if you were on Hastings Street in Vancouver and you did that and a cop saw you, chances are he would not arrest you because there's too many people doing it. So I think the actual the incarceration rate is higher here. So I think actually it is worse in the city than even the statistics say. That said, it's still kind of amazing that even in the country, 1 out of 5 households have had somebody as victimized by crime, which includes burglary and stuff like that, I'm sure. Um, Violent crime rates are also higher in urban areas. 7% of city residents versus 4% in suburban and rural saying a member of their household was a victim of a violent crime. These figures essentially match a historical average of 6%. It's still kind of high. Now we can go watch a video. Let's watch a video. Videos are fun.
You want to do air pollution?
Yeah, let's do air pollution. I like air. I'm a double Aquarius. That's an air sign. Air is really good. And it's probably the most pervasively polluted. I mean, anybody, you just drive a tractor or a car or something, you're producing pollution. So um, it's also apparently one of the worst types. So yeah, we'll play the video. Play the whole thing. It's only 2 minutes.
Growing evidence shows that air pollution may be exacerbating the COVID-19 pandemic by augmenting susceptibility to the virus for people living in polluted areas. Preliminary studies show that small increases in particulate matter might have led to a rise in mortality rates. Air pollution is the main environmental trigger for premature death globally. Outdoor and household air pollution cause around 7 million deaths every year, and 9 out of 10 people breathe air with high pollution levels. Outdoor air pollution is caused by pollutants like sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, and particulate matter, which typically result from power generation, waste management, and residential emissions, especially from heating. Household air pollution can lead to heart disease or lung cancer, typically coming from fossil fuel combustion for heating and inefficient cooking practices. Around 3 billion people worldwide cook with indoor open fires or stoves fueled by biomass, kerosene, and coal. Reducing air pollution would benefit underprivileged populations. More than 90% of premature deaths linked to air pollution occur in low and middle income countries. The health impacts of air pollution also have economic consequences. OECD projections show an expected increase in healthcare costs related to air pollution, rising from $21 billion in 2015 to $176 billion in 2060. Better air quality can reverse that trend and help yield significant economic benefits. Temporary improvements in air quality due to lockdowns in certain regions during the pandemic demonstrated the link between economic activity and air pollution. While the economy needs to restart, it is essential to seek a green recovery that will facilitate the transition to low-carbon economies and lead to lower levels of air pollution.
All right. That's it from OECD.
Yeah. And like I say, it's such a pervasive pollutant, and it's really hard to avoid. We had usually we get extreme fires up here, and it's so smoky that's our big air pollution. Actually, we had the worst air quality in North America last summer at one point because of the forest fires. Um, but I don't know if forest fires smoke is better than smoke from a refinery, but I lived in Crockett. You know where Crockett is up there, outside of North Bay, San Francisco, and Sugartown, and there was 6 oil refineries within about 10 miles of me. When I moved out, cleaning the top of the fridge, there was this layer of oil sludge that had collected over the years. So that's kind of icky. Now we've got another video, if you're so inclined. Um, and you don't have to play this whole thing; it's kind of long. Just play a couple minutes. But it has to do with audio pollution, which actually has a really
Well,
inordinate
noise
effect on
pollution, right?
noise pollution. Yeah, I mean, thing about that is it's more psychological than physiological, but it does affect people's health to a large extent. So go ahead and just play a couple minutes or whenever you get bored.
I gotta unmute.
Noise is a reality of daily urban life. And as Canada's population grows, so too does the relentless noise. Despite the belief that it's something we get used to, the science tells a different story.
You can't turn your ears off. Your body is still listening. You're still hearing these things, and it's still activating our nervous system.
Tor Oyamo is one of the leading noise researchers in Canada. He says the health effects of noise pollution can be significant.
When you're exposed to or hear a sound that you don't want to hear, so a noise, it tends to stress you out, and that elicits a physiological reaction in our bodies, which then can manifest in a lot of different outcomes, such as heart disease, cardiovascular disease, metabolic diseases like diabetes.
The short-term impacts of noise include stress and sleep deprivation, but experts say the most significant health effects happen over years and decades. They can be chronic and serious. Tor was the lead researcher of a study that found close to 90% of people in Toronto were exposed to daytime noise levels that exceeded the World Health Organization's recommendations of 55 decibels.
So it's a significant concern over time, over months and years, that really starts to potentially lead to more severe effects.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's the basics of it.
Yeah, it's a basics. And I guess what I was alluding to, it's psychological first, and then it really affects the health. Whereas something like an oil refinery or something like that can affect you directly with that type of pollution. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. We're doing pretty good. I can wrap it up in about 5 minutes, and then we can move on with the more strange aspects of life. Get rid of this silly thing. Okay, we're just going to talk about what's going on here out in the rural areas because things have really changed, people. You take a place like Idaho, it's the fastest growing state. Sandpoint, which I know rather well, just south of me on Lake Pend Oreille. It went from 7,300 residents to 9,000 in 2020 census. And it says here that people come here because it's a red state. Now, this is kind of the reason I use this is because, like in Montana, I'm quite familiar with people from back east moving in here, people from Alberta. So it changes the political landscape somewhat. But the influx to people like Idaho is hard of a long division. Here's the deal: you see, people are struggling to find housing in Sandpoint. And that's happening all over the place. The mayor of Sandpoint worries real estate firms that only serve conservatives pushes more and more into extremism. And that particular area is kind of a hotbed for that type of thinking, and that on into Montana, northeastern corner of Montana. Says here, Bonn is very overrun by white nationalists. It's like whatever. Okay, I'm going to move on a little bit more grit here. This is out of the Financial Post. This is out of Ottawa, Canada. You probably heard of it. They had a lot of truckers there. Did you? They all went home, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, these people really have a problem because there's this one guy here in the Kootenays, and he's having all these big parties and stuff with anti-COVID protests. He's having a great time, and because the restrictions are all going away, we don't have mask things. We're not going to have passports anymore. Anyway, back to the news. Ottawa, small cities and cottage towns across Canada, gripping with the fallout of surging popularity, partly amid the COVID-19 pandemic and suburbanites flocked in, driving up home prices for big city-style building wars, putting pressure on municipal service. Growing demand has led some small city communities to seek housing prices jump more than 75% in 1 year. Now, check this out. This is true. My region, our home prices went up 50% last year. 50% in 1 year. That's scary. And also says that this is happening in the same as in New Zealand, Australia, and Britain, where rural home prices are accelerating faster than the cities. Boom in Canada has builders flooding into smaller communities. More homes mean more demand for drinking water, wastewater management, forcing some towns to fast track expensive infrastructure. Now check this out. In Nelson, my town, my local city, yes sirree, and they say a former mining town in British Columbia. Hey, we used to be the biggest city between Winnipeg and Vancouver, dog. All right, Kootenay Mountains, a pandemic-driven explosion. It's more than just a pandemic. Anyway, we've got a lot of coaching houses and blah, blah, blah. We're heading down that road anyway, but it's now been accelerated. See, that's what I mean. They were heading that way, but it got accelerated. This is a quote from Mayor John Dooley, who's a big fan of mine, actually. He was in the lounge just the other day. See, that's another thing about small towns. Like, you actually get to know the mayor on almost a personal level. You don't get that in Vancouver. Okay, anyhow, he said that it's accelerating, and it's put us a little bit on our back foot. He's Irish, by the way. Adding that the city has to spring for a $25 million new sewage facility to accommodate the growth. You want people to come here and help build the community, but at what cost? People have to been here for literally generations, says Nancy Chowinnicka, who lives in Prince Edward County in the peninsula of Ontario, Lake Ontario, known as for its wineries and beaches. In the county, about half the children in rural daycare are new to the community since the pandemic. Like, wow, half the kids means the town's doubled in size almost. A more young man who's living in the community will ultimately be beneficial, she said, as long as they stick around once life gets back to normal, which is true. The rural population went down inordinately as people flocked to the city. So this is a bit of a correction. The challenge that we have is they have a lot of money, because you can sell your house in Vancouver and get $2 million. You can come out here and you can buy a lot of stuff for $2 million. I mean, anyhow, that's it.
Well, yeah, I mean,
that's all
we're gonna see. We'll keep following it. But there's definitely is it gonna continue this migration from urban to rural? Obviously, the pandemic and crime are fueling it, and now
crime's huge.
Things have settled down, obviously, with the pandemic. But one thing that people learned and liked was that, at least for the people, unfortunately, there's a segment of the workforce that can't work from home, but the segment that can, they don't want to go back to. They don't want to go back to the office. You got cities like New York. Yeah. The mayor is begging the mayor of New York City, Davis, whatever the hell his name is, and the governor of New York. They're begging people to come back to the office in New York City, and it's not going to happen.
We can use these people. I've got 2 or 3 business ventures that I could start conceivably if I had the human resource, if there was people that could do the job. So And also, it's better. It's better for the economy. Nelson has really developed a lot from its time. It was a 1980 when I first moved here. It was still a big sawmill, working class town. The sawmill closed, as a lot of them do. It could have just rolled over and died, but the city's quite vibrant, and the sleeper communities. Nelson's pretty kind of high profile, but there's smaller communities that could actually use people. I mean, there's room for you out there. The thing is, you have to be inventive. If you're internet based, you're laughing. But also, if you got a trade, we need more tradespeople, and all the builders and electricians out here, they're working full time. They're booked. So there you go.
We
I'm a
got
big
we've
advocate.
got
I'm an advocate of rural living. I think cities are stupid. You know,
oh,
I mean, like, if you're in the city and you want to go to, say, the hardware store, well, you got to drive like 15, 20 blocks through traffic, get to the hardware store. And you go, oh, I'm going to go to the fabric store. And then you drive another 15, 20 blocks through traffic to get to the fabric store. And then you go to the grocery store. And then you've driven like all over town. In a small town like Nelson, the mall and the downtown, and that's it. And they're within like a mile and a half mile of each other, and all the stores are there. And I mean, it's just, there's no running around. Less selection, but still more efficient.
all right. Well, we got to move on to the next topic.
Okay, well, I'm just
we're gonna
trying
do
to be James Brown here.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah.
We got Jack Boog in the chat. I don't know. Post in the Telegram Freedom Sells memes. If anybody wants to check that out. I'll check that out after the show, but thanks for posting, Jack Boog. I'll check it out. We're going to move on to Ukraine and Biden's crypto executive order. When we're done with that, we're going to move on to another big topic, which is the emergence of the new internet. But we'll get to that after we get the Ukraine stuff done. What I wanted to take a look at, we'll get the media viewer up. I've got wheat prices, crude oil per barrel pinned in a browser tab, and then I have the ratio between the Russian ruble and the U.S. dollar. So I want to go over those right now. So I'm just going to keep track of these for some time now, and we'll watch through the weeks as see what goes on with it. So looking at WTI crude, I think it was getting up to at least 110, 115. I think it was close to 120. Yeah. Okay, so at March 8th, WTI crude was at $123, and that's one of the basic standards that economists use for a barrel of crude oil. So it hit $123 on March 8th.
A while ago. It's under 50 or just a while ago. Go ahead.
So it's going down. That's a good sign, but who knows what's going to happen over the long term. So it's at 109 now. Brent crude is at 112. There's also natural gas on here, but that has not been that volatile. Moving on, we've got wheat, which is pretty crazy. So wheat official close was on March 11th at 373. And this thing got way up there on March 7th. Wow, 422. And it's moved back down to 373 now. So you can see that massive spike. And if you just look back at May, right, we have even April. Look at this. There was a low in April around April 5th last year, 205. To just give you an idea of how much that is, price of wheat has exploded. Everything is just skyrocketing. Yep. Obviously going to really affect food prices. And this is the Russian ruble. Wow. Compared to the U.S. dollar, and it's at, right now, a measly, .007.
Oh, yeah.
1 ruble equals...
About half a cent, roughly.
Yeah, 1 ruble equals .007.
Yeah.
That's pretty brutal.
Less than a penny. Less than a penny. A ruble is worth less than a penny.
If you go back, so say we go back to February 16th of just this year, 2022, 1 ruble was .013 of a U.S. dollar. So that's pretty brutal. Let me just take a look at the 10-year, just real quick. We go all the way back to April 9th, 2012. 1 ruble was .033 of a U.S. dollar.
Yeah, 33 cents. So, wow, that's crashola, man. Okay, go on.
So those are the 3 ones that I'm following for now, and I'll be checking in on them. I've been checking in on them as much as I can, but I think they're, as the Russian-Ukrainian conflict continues, these are some things to look at. So moving on, the Biden administration finally issued their crypto executive order. It's kind of, I don't know. I think overall, I think it's positive that they finally released it. It is, I don't think there's anything extremely that people in the crypto market should be extremely concerned about, but at the same time, more regulation is coming, and it could be an issue. Let's get into this first. This is the actual fact sheet directly from whitehouse.gov. So I've got it in the show notes, and actually, let me just post the show notes in the chat for everybody. There's a lot of good links in here. And this one right here is right from the horse's mouth. So digital assets, including cryptocurrencies, have seen explosive growth in recent years, surpassing $3 trillion market cap last November, and up from $14 billion from just 5 years prior. And we're just going to go into real quick some of the highlights. Executive order calls for measures to protect U.S. consumers, investors, and businesses. So it's going to direct the Department of Treasury and other agency partners to assess and develop policy recommendations to address the implications of the growing digital assets sector. Not sure how that's going to unfold, but it's coming. Protect U.S. and global financial stability and mitigate systemic risk by encouraging the Financial Stability Oversight Council to identify and mitigate economy-wide financial risk posed by digital assets and to develop appropriate policy recommendations to address any regulatory gaps. Third point is mitigate the illicit finance and national security risk posed by the illicit use of digital assets. So basically, any kind of criminal activity, they're going to start honing in on that. And this is an important point. I mean, when crypto was in its infancy and not so much in the mainstream, many people wrote it off as just used by criminals. But the reality is, unless the criminal is going out of the way to use, say, an anonymity platform, an anonymity token, and really knows what they're doing, if they're just using Bitcoin or Ethereum, it's going to be tracked easily. So if you do anything criminal with it, the whole point of the blockchain is to have that historical record of the transaction. You can see that exit point for whatever they did in the transfer on the blockchain. So that's easily traced. So the argument... the criminal element of crypto, it can all be easily traced. So it really is not an issue.
No.
Because most criminals are stupid. They don't have much know-how. I mean, maybe down the road we will see a criminal that really does understand cryptocurrency and knows how to. There are ways to do it. So we'll see.
Yeah,
maybe somebody will pull off something like that, but they haven't done it yet.
Yeah, well, it takes a lot of time and concentration and a certain amount of intelligence. And you're probably right. Criminals are very busy being criminals and generally didn't go to MIT or anything. So, okay, what other nuggets have we got? I think it's good that they're moving. Both Canada and the United States are starting to deal with crypto, which is a good sign. It's not something you just should have been completely ignoring.
Well,
and of course, the Ukrainian situation exacerbated. I don't know.
So the next point is promote U.S. leadership in technology and economic competitiveness to reinforce U.S. leadership in the global financial system. This is important that they state this because The CCP in China has already been long running, trying to prevent Bitcoin. When they figured out they couldn't control Bitcoin, they got rid of it and released their own digital yuan, and they're promoting that instead of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and anything else in the crypto system. So with the U.S. taking this position of economic competitiveness and innovation, hopefully, it will spur the right innovation, and they won't regulate things too much. Moving on, promote equitable access to safe and affordable financial services by affirming the critical need for safe, affordable, and accessible financial services at a U.S. national interest that must inform our approach to digital asset innovation, including disparate impact risk. So basically trying to create a safe ecosystem for crypto, support technological advances and ensure responsible development and use of digital assets. And the final one is explore, and this one's big, explore a U.S. central bank digital currency by placing urgency on research and development of potential United States CBDC. My concerns with a central bank digital currency, especially at the U.S. level, considering it's still, you have the dominance of the U.S. dollar. The banks are going to be. The banks don't want to lose control as crypto evolves, right? And really, crypto, if it's done right, it's going to empower the individual investor, the individual user. So we'll have to see how CBDCs evolve. Obviously, governments and banks are going to try to make it so that, hey, open up a crypto wallet with, Morgan Stanley or whatever, with Bank of America. So that they can shut down your digital wallet at any point if you allow them that control. So have to see how things evolve. Really, what needs to happen in the crypto markets. Like, I'm working on a crypto wallet now. We're not tied to any bank. This is, the user of the app has full control of the wallet, and that's the way it should be. So the industry has to develop like that, where you can do individual wallet-to-wallet transfers and not have to deal with a bank. But obviously, that's what the war is going to be fought as we move forward. These banks and governments are going to want to have control over your digital wallet. So if you want to get into crypto, be wary of exchanges. Get a hardware wallet. If you have a hardware wallet or software wallet, make sure you have full control of it. It's not tied to a bank or anything like that, because you're going to see an explosion of these banks or whatever. They're going to be off and trying to entice you to create, a wallet tied to their bank that they can turn off and seize at any moment. So we'll see how it unfolds. I wanted to check out real quick this USA Today article because they have some issues with Biden's executive order on crypto. What did Biden get wrong on crypto? His new order threatens to smother innovation. Hold on a sec here. The Biden administration needs to recognize the biggest threat to financial stability with regard to cryptocurrency is overregulation. President Biden just released an executive order Wednesday that could curtail opportunities that cryptocurrency provides for economic advancement, notwithstanding the order's hopeful tone about crypto's potential to promote efficiency and financial inclusion. Ironically, the order may also introduce new financial risks in the name of preventing them. The White House fact sheet on the order notes correctly that the rise of cryptocurrency creates an opportunity to reinforce American leadership in the global financial system at the technological frontier. That cryptocurrency advances American values such as liberty and democracy has been shown by Ukrainian leaders and citizens' creative use of cryptocurrency by products like stable coins and NFTs to raise funds to fight Russian forces and advance the message of freedom. Crypto assets have also played an essential role in recent protests in Hong Kong and other pro-democracy movements. That's why it's essential that regulatory agencies don't use a sledgehammer approach that would stamp out legitimate uses of cryptocurrency in the name of catching bad actors. Biden's order emphasizes coordination of various agencies involved in cryptocurrency regulation, but is silent on the need for those agencies to adhere to the rule of law and refrain from exceeding powers given to them by Congress. So it's a very real concern. Obviously, politically, Biden administration, any government administration in the U.S., federal level, what have you, they could go after Russia for political reasons, right? Because of the invasion of Ukraine,
Right.
going after their ways of using crypto in Russia. So, yeah, this could be used, the regulation side of it could be used for very, very bad geopolitical reasons.
Well, it's the usual. Like with any law, if it's applied properly, then it's okay. But if it's applied indiscriminately, I suppose, picking the target because you don't like them, just so common. And then, of course, if it takes it to the end of the political spectrum, then that's even more malfeasance. But I'm glad the governments are we're dealing with it here in Canada too. Long and short of that is that, from my understanding anyway, they're going to try to create a Bank of Canada-based digital currency while not interfering with what's going on right now, except where it moves into the criminal areas. And that's why they seized some of the funds from the Freedom Convoy. And that's a whole other ball of wax. We'll talk about that later.
But, finishing up with the Ukraine-Russian conflict, Twitter launches a Tor website to tackle Russian censorship. So this is interesting. Yeah. So now you can browse. I'll actually check it out with the Tor browser I have. But
did you? It works?
No, I haven't. I'm going to.
Oh.
But
yeah, I haven't tried it either.
It's
Facebook
sometimes these
Tor,
links.
like
Tor. I think Tor is running into a lot of issues. There's actually we have another story down the road here in today's show about a hacker on the dark web, and yeah, a lot of the links are broken. You really have to do research, and I'll have a future show on that.
Yeah, I'd like to do that because I use Tor sometimes, and I have noticed that it doesn't navigate as well as it used to for some reason. But yeah, go ahead.
But this is this article. I've got the link there if you want to check it out. This is the new Onion URL that was announced. So if you're somewhere where freedom of speech is really adhered, China, Russia, Iran, stuff like that, you can try checking out Tor on that. And even it definitely, even if you have regular access to Twitter, it'd be cool to check it out on Tor.
Well, that's just it. And we talked about it before because a lot of people don't think that they count. They say, oh, nobody will bother me because I'm nobody, but everybody's somebody. And so, if you do value your privacy for some reason, a lot of people have, I don't care. I'm an entertainer. I want everybody to know everything about me. But, it's interesting, but Tor's quite a beast, and it's been around for a long time too. It's amazing.
So we're going to move on to the next topic: the emergence of a new internet, unstoppable domains, NFTs, IPFS, which is the interplanetary file system, and decentralized blockchain identities.
Get your notebook
and this
out,
will be
folks.
an ongoing topic, as I hope that this year is better in advancing all of this as last year, because things were really moving slow last year. But
were they?
Just this year, just with the whole trucker convoy in Canada, and then the U.S. and the seizure of assets. They're trying to go after crypto, and then Russia invasion, and Ukraine is trying to use crypto. Russia trying to use crypto.
It's really brought it up. It's brought it up into the public eye. Yeah.
Yeah, so crypto's now finally mainstream, and I think people are going to finally start to open up to some of these new technologies. And
well, folks, wait a second. If you're watching this show, which you must be watching this show, because if you weren't watching this show, you wouldn't be seeing me say this, but the Yankee is your source. This guy has been studying crypto. He's active in the community. I'm giving it up to you, because when you first started talking to me about this a couple, 2-3 years ago, it was like, crypto, what the hell? And the more that, I've been working with you, the more I'm learning. But this recent incidents, like you say, the convoys, Ukraine, etc., it's hitting the radar now. So I'm just giving it up to I'm promoting you, bud. And you do a crypto show too. I'm promoting that. Cryptopia, is that what you call it?
Cryptopia, yeah. So
Yeah,
I
and that's
usually
Monday
do shows
evenings.
on Monday evenings or throughout the week.
Catch it. Catch it. See, I'm too old to care. I own real estate, so I don't need to worry about this stuff. But anybody with a brain, hopefully is younger than me, which wouldn't be that hard. Yeah, check it out. And
So
also, it's important for everybody to know what the hell's going on.
So this is just
That's
a
my
kind of a basics of decentralized identity from VentureBeat.com. Today, almost all of our digital identities are linked through devices, apps, and services. Service providers control these digital identities and then in their respective digital identity data. Because of this, users are now experiencing misuse of personal data and data breaches that affect their social, financial, and professional lives. Additionally, giving access to multiple third parties or service providers from different applications makes it harder for users to manage their personal data and revoke access to the information. For example, you've got your Google account and you just keep tying it to all these different websites. You're logging into whatever, just a variety of social media sites, third-party product sites, everything, and it's impossible to manage all of that, and it's managed by Google. Google has full control of that. Google could ban your account. Like my YouTube account was eliminated in the blink of an eye, and I had to appeal it. So this new system with blockchain and crypto and decentralized digital identities, the idea is to give back the power to the individual, so you have full control over that, at least total, near control, full control. A centralized system makes user identity data extremely prone to cyber attacks and privacy breaches. But decentralized identity solutions provide a new horizon by enabling users and service providers to have better authority over their identity and personal data.
Right.
So the article addresses the following: what is a decentralized identity, how decentralized identity works with blockchain, how to authenticate using a decentralized identity, what happens when we fully adopt a decentralized identity procedure, and benefits of using blockchain with decentralized identity. Decentralized identity is based on a trust framework for identity management. It allows users to generate and control their own digital identity without depending on a specific service provider. I'm going to go over after this. Microsoft seems to be the main big company, the big tech monopolies, the one that's leading the way, at least with decentralized digital identities with blockchain.
Right.
So the basics of a decentralized identity are identity wallet, an app that allows users to create their decentralized identity and manage their access to service providers. An identity owner, a user who creates their decentralized identity using the identity wallet. And then there's an issuer and a verifier, the person who issues and verifies the identity information. They sign that's the transaction with their private key. Then there's service providers. So those are applications that accept authentication using the decentralized identity and access blockchain distributed ledger to look for the ID that users shared. MetaMask right now is it's been around for a long time. That's been doing one of the most widely used identity wallets, but it needs to evolve. Everything's still very much in its infancy. And then you've got blockchain distributed ledger, decentralized and distributed ledger that provides the mechanism and features for DIDs and functioning. Such a history of all the transactions and whatever you're doing with your digital identity, your decentralized identifier. So the DID is a unique identifier that contains details such as public key verification information and service endpoints. I think it's some technical stuff here. I think we should just move on to Microsoft because, as I was saying, they are. Well, actually, before we do that, I wanted to mention briefly, and this is something I wasn't fully aware of until I started researching. Before getting into the Microsoft stuff, there's also another movement for a blockchain-based decentralized authentication framework for resource-constrained Internet of Thing devices. So this is pretty big because we've had an explosion of IoT devices. We've got Alexa, Google, all these smart security cameras. People are now putting smart locks, which I don't recommend, but they're implementing smart locks on their front doors, which they can unlock it remotely. So all these different devices.
Smart locks. It reminds me when Facebook had that meltdown; they couldn't get in the building.
Right.
Smart
yeah,
locks.
that's perfect example. Perfect example of it. They had all their locks on the network, and it got hacked, and then they couldn't get in.
Blocked out of Facebook. But I'm Mark Zuckerberg. You gotta let me in.
So there's a movement, at least, where they're trying to, and actually this other article on healthcare Internet of Thing devices spells that out a little bit more. So they're looking into a decentralized framework for device authentication and data security in the next generation of Internet medical things. I mean, Internet of Things medical devices, it's really important to secure those because you got people's medical information could be on there.
Yeah.
Traversing the network and everything. So the IoT networks generate enormous data compromising meteorological information. Patient critical body parameters, finance, logistics, collection of a tracking object, etc. Security for sensitive data such as patient body critical parameters from an attached monitoring device streaming over IoT networks is vital and is a need of the hour to secure it. Data integrity and user or device authentication are crucial for building a trustworthy communication network among peers in the IoT network. Most networks still employ specific software encryption algorithms and provide considerable data security, but quantum computing has proved the vulnerability of computationally vigorous cryptographic algorithms. Basically, quantum computers can easily crack encryption. A decentralized and scalable framework for device authentication and data security is proposed in this paper based on blockchain platform and physical unclonable functions. An authentication protocol is developed using puff-based cryptographic primitives. The puff-based keys are hard to replicate and almost impossible to predict because of the randomness in the physical design and complex mathematical modeling of the system. Lightweight smart contracts are used to facilitate role-based access control. Data privacy is preserved by storing the sensitive data off-chain. As a proof of concept, an IoT-based healthcare system based on Ethereum permission blockchain is developed using the proposed framework. So basically, they're trying to create a new cryptographic methodology that incorporates Ethereum and crypto to combat the power of quantum computers that can easily break that encryption. And then also they're experimenting with keeping the sensitive data off-chain. So I don't know how that would work, but somehow they do it in a way where it's hard to access it. They may be able to create a more secure infrastructure for IoT at the medical level. But I thought that was interesting. Moving on to Microsoft's decentralized identity. As I said before, they're the ones I've seen out of the big tech companies breaking the most ground on decentralized identity. So this is like a little PDF for them. Own and control your identity. Each of us needs a digital identity we own, which securely and privately stores all elements of our digital identity. Today, we use our digital identity at work, at home, and across every app, service, and device we engage with. It's made up of everything we say, do, and experience in our lives, purchasing tickets for an event, checking into a hotel, or even ordering lunch. So, just some technical, nerdy stuff here. Charts of graph of how everything works. Well, they basically want to build a whole new network infrastructure that's decentralized to incorporate these digital IDs, decentralized. So there's DID user agents, applications that enable real people to use decentralized identities. There's DIF, a universal resolver, a server that utilizes a collection of DID drivers to provide a standard means of lookup, blah, blah, blah. It's very technical, which is why I want to move more to, I need to find, there's also another aspect, and I'm still learning about this, but there's the ION framework that Microsoft is supporting that supports only Bitcoin right now. That's another thing I'm researching.
Mm-hmm.
But this was posted last year from Wired. Microsoft's dream of decentralized IDs enters the real world. The company will launch a public preview of its identification platform this spring. And they've already tested it with UK's National Health Service. So I really need to take the next step and actually check out what Microsoft's doing. I'd rather it's because they're a big company, they have enough resources to get something like this off the ground, but I haven't seen anything else at the size of what Microsoft's doing for decentralized identities, and I'm hoping that there's more stuff gets kickstarted.
Mm-hmm.
One of the interesting things, the whole aspect of digital identities are really going to hurt the existing monopolies, especially Facebook, Google, Apple to a certain extent, because Apple finally released Apple ID, where you can use your Apple account to sign into other websites, and
yeah.
By the time they did that, we're already transitioning into a new internet where, we're supposed to decentralize things and bring power back to the individual. That's the whole aspect of it.
Yeah. Good luck.
So there's a real big fight for that, but it's good to see Microsoft doing that. They're the only big tech company that I know that is supporting decentralized IDs. So
they don't have as big a footprint in the social media.
Right. They don't have a big
world.
social media site, an ecosystem.
They got less to lose.
They have less to lose. So that's all it took for them to take up the torch of it. So we'll see. It's going to definitely help to move it forward, and I think it will. I think we'll eventually get there, but there's going to be a huge.
We haven't seen much innovation out of Microsoft for a while, so it's good to see that they're doing something new instead of just the old.
Yeah, I think it'll eventually get to the point where the rest of these big tech companies can't ignore it anymore.
Well, Microsoft's huge, man. They got a lot of bank. They can do it. You're right. Okay, we're gonna keep on.
So we're gonna move on to NFTs, which people either love or hate,
or don't understand.
And I have a real short 2-minute video.
So I'm going to
that will try to explain it.
Oh, good.
So I'm going to describe what an NFT is in the most basic terms I can. NFT stands for non-fungible token. Fungible means something is able to be exchanged or substituted and will hold the same value. It's interchangeable, like the dollar, gold, casino chips, Bitcoin, Ethereum, or frequent flyer loyalty points. If I lend you $10 cash and you return to me 2 $5 banknotes, I'm fine with that because even though they are different, they hold the same total value. They're fungible. So non-fungible obviously means it's an asset that can't be substituted. It has unique attributes that make it different from something else in the same asset class, like a painting, a theatre ticket, a house, a video game skin, a trademark, or a CryptoKitty, which was the first real use case to take off on the Ethereum blockchain in 2017. Some of these assets are physical and tangible, and others are digital and intangible. So NFTs are non-fungible tokens. Token refers to a digital certificate stored on a secure distributed database called a blockchain. So NFTs are digital assets, publicly verifiable intellectual property authenticated on a blockchain. A popular place to currently browse a variety of NFTs is on OpenSea.io. It's an exciting space. I believe the NFT space will continue to grow in the coming years, with some popular use cases being digital art, virtual land, gaming, collectibles, finance, and much more. I thought this was worth explaining because I think we'll be talking a lot more about this in the coming years.
All right, so that's that. Basics of NFTs. And so NFTs, basically, if you're an artist or if you have artwork that you own, you can create an NFT out of it. You can put it up on, what is the big one? OpenSea.
OpenSea, that's what the guy said. Yeah, OpenSea.
Which has become... I have to... Hold on a second here. There it is. It's become the largest NFT marketplace. We're going to check it out real quick.
Yeah.
Here it is. It's OpenSea.io. It's absolutely massive. And it's now cornered the market.
Wow.
I think it's teaming up with MetaMask. It's making deals, so
Yeah.
let's check out Bad Face Bots, I guess. I don't know. There's so much stuff on here. So this has a volume trade of 1.1 thousand. There's 2,600 owners. There's over 5,600 items. So these are all these bots you can get. So you can own any of these if you want to pay. Now, as I've been saying in past broadcasts, everything's way overpriced for NFTs. This one right here, this little bad face bot 1616 will set you back $592 in US dollars, right?
No, I'm not spending that on that friggin' thing. Dude, that's how much it takes to fill up my gas tank. I'd rather have a full tank of gas in the RV than that thing. Man, that thing is ugly. Darn.
But there's thousands and thousands of
that's ridiculous.
Of NFTs on here, and really, you want to learn more about NFTs, definitely check out OpenSea.
Yeah, it sounds like good entertainment on a sunny afternoon.
But I would imagine there's going to have to be like what happened with the .com bubble around 2000 many years ago. There's going to have to be some kind of correction, some kind of massive bubble burst in NFTs.
Well, that's one of the principles of economics, by the way, for the that skipped economics class. One of the very principles is you charge what the market will bear. And especially with something abstract like this. And this isn't like a tank of gas. This isn't just a discretionary purchase, I would imagine, where you don't really need this thing in your everyday life. The pets thing, do you really need that? I mean, if you do, you might want to seek psychiatric advice, but maybe not. Maybe I'm just, too old school.
So this one right here is a Metroverse is a land. It's created by Metroverse, and Metroverse is a land trading NFT strategy game on the Ethereum blockchain. Collect, trade, and stake your city blocks to earn MET, the utility token of Metroverse. So this is a virtual.
It's like Monopoly.
It's virtual real estate. And this,
like the game Monopoly. Remember the board game Monopoly?
Yeah. So it's kind of like that, but all digital.
Yeah.
And the Metaverse will be built around it. This one will set you back $4,600. It costs 1.8.
Monopoly game, man. It was like $9.99 at the friggin'.
Yeah, if you have 1.8 in Ethereum, you can pick this guy up, which costs $4,600. Ethereum is the first. Ethereum has really caught the market too for NFTs. Everybody's using it, but I'd like to see Solana, Cardano, the others get into it and maybe help in bringing prices to come down for these NFTs because it's
Amazon,
completely out of control.
Amazon, dude. Wait, Bozos gets his hand on it, man. They'll have Amazon.
There are a bunch of
NFTs
tutorials
for
on
like
YouTube about how to create.
$8.99, with free shipping. All right.
I've got a video here. We're not going to go through a lot of it, really. I've got it in the show notes, but this is one of the best videos I've found so far. It's 30 minutes long. I've gone through. I went through the whole thing.
It's in the show notes, folks.
It basically he uses third-party services to do a lot of the stuff, like the interaction with IPFS, which is the storage mechanism for blockchain, for blockchain and crypto in general.
Right.
And also Node. If you're familiar with Node, which is a JavaScript server architecture, basically, you can create NFTs with Node.
Right.
And he runs through the whole process. He has right here. There's a Discord, and right here is the code. If you go down in the notes here, the code's right here. You can download the actual code and step through the entire process of what he's doing here. And at the end, you can then list it for sale on OpenSea, where we were just at. You actually have to mint your NFTs, and he shows you the whole step. But this whole process, creating NFTs, it's more and more third-party companies, startups are getting into this and making it easier, providing easier tools to create NFTs. Right now, you still need some coding skills to get it working, but I would imagine by the end of this year, there'll be maybe one provider that handles everything for you, and you don't have to know code. But I posted the link there if you want to check it out. Got to move on to Unstoppable Domains. I just picked up an Unstoppable domain. I'm going to be buying up some more. If you are interested in crypto, the new internet, Web3, blockchain, all of that, start buying up. I would recommend you start looking into Unstoppable Domains and similar services like ENS. There's a few others, but Unstoppable is I think probably the best one to go with. And you can start looking into buying domains now because there could be a serious problem with prices going up. Same that happened with domains back in the web tech bust around 2000. I mean, it was crazy back then. So.
I know. Yeah.
But I've got five major points on Unstoppable Domains. There's 0 renewal fees, so this is really important. So unlike traditional .com domains, you fully own and control your Unstoppable domain. So you never have to pay renewal fees, ever. You buy it once and you own it for life. You don't have to renew every year on GoDaddy or Network Solutions. You just buy it.
I know. Adds up too.
You own it, and that's it. So number 2 is seamless crypto payments. No longer fear your payments getting lost in the ether, pun intended, I guess.
Like that too.
But instead of copying and pasting your wallet address, which is similar to a bank account number and can look like blah, 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 use an Unstoppable domain as your one-stop shop username to store all your wallet addresses for sending and receiving crypto. Like, I don't like ever exposing my wallet addresses. So this is the perfect solution. You just put all your wallets behind an Unstoppable domain.
I like it.
Third one is multi-chain compatibility. Your NFT domain comes with superpower to receive over 275 supported coins and tokens, with many more on the way. Now you can navigate crypto transactions with ease, regardless of the blockchain network. And you can browse the complete list. I must make sure this link works still. Yeah, it's good to go. So if you want to check that out, check it out. Decentralized websites. Want to create a website on the decentralized web? Create one in just a few clicks with your pre-made templates. Own any NFTs. Create a gallery-style website to show off your favorite collectibles as your collection grows. and they'll be adding more templates. You can also create your website directly on IPFS and then link it up to your Unstoppable domain. So your Unstoppable domain would serve up that IPFS site.
Oh, this sounds great. This sounds really good.
I put a link in here on the other competing services, mainly ENS and Handshake. I actually met a guy who holds a very large amount of Ethereum that is working on the Handshake protocol on his Discord server. Actually, I have to reach out to him soon. Handshake versus Unstoppable Domains versus Decentral Web versus ENS. So here's just a quick comparison of the competing technologies. I'm not going to get too much into them, but you can check out the link. I need to move on to IPFS because it's getting late here.
Yeah, we're getting down there, babe.
How IPFS is building a new internet from the ground up. Molly McInlay on Web3, web apps, content moderation, and building an internet that lasts. A really long article. I wanted to get down to some of the questions. This is interesting. Have you spent time talking to folks at Google and Facebook and Microsoft of the world about what all of this looks like? A lot of people are going to start to ask, how do I build a $100 billion business out of this? Which is a complicated question. And other people are going to say, I already run a $100 billion business. What am I supposed to do with Web3? Are the answers to that getting better on your end? So she responds, yeah, I mean, the homegrown business within Web3 are absolutely scaling. OpenSea is now, $1 billion per month or something crazy in sales. There are definitely businesses that are homegrown within Web3 that are quickly scaling to top some of those lists and be very interesting from a traditional Web2 scale perspective. When the conversation comes to large existing businesses, the feedback I give is to start understanding the space first. Don't start with great. We're going to transition an existing business directly on top of this network. Start with what are the components of your business that make the most sense.
Yeah.
We've actually been working with a ton of super large institutions who have massive data sets that they want to be hyper resilient against all sorts of faults and stored cheaply around the world to utilize things like IPFS and Filecoin for that purpose. Groups like the Internet Archive, the USC Show Foundation, the Max Planck Institute, and others. So IPFS is very much, it's really in a massive development stage, and it's going to take time for all of these third parties to start integrating with it, but it'll start to get better as we go. It's just not. It's just the tools are just starting to prop up, and it's nowhere near reaching its full potential. So, just going to mention this quick. Have a link here if you want to check it out. How to deploy your website in IPFS, why and how. So it's a whole tutorial on that. I'm actually going to be stepping through this and creating a website for my Unstoppable domain. So I added that link there.
Yeah, and you do have your crypto show, which you go even deeper than we can go on our show because of a limited time space. But it's really good information. I really like that last thing that you were talking about. I can relate to that. But
and I was actually talking to the Canuck and Jacob, who helped me found Variant News about Deeper Connect. And this is a Deeper Connect is an example of the blockchain crypto sharing ecosystem that is emerging now. So this is a very interesting development. Deeper Connect is coming out with these hardware devices. I'm actually going to pick one up. I think they're around $300. I'm still trying to figure out exactly how all this works, but mainly these devices will allow you to connect to VPN. So basically, I guess they've sold around 100,000 to 200,000 of these devices. You connect these devices to your network, say through your computer or wherever. You can actually connect them to your mobile phone and use your mobile phone's connection. And it creates a client-server VPN. So anybody else that's running this device, you can connect to them and use them as a VPN connection point, a VPN server. And they probably will have 1 million of these, if this takes off, 1 million of these devices by next year, maybe. And on top of that, you can mine a specialized crypto token that for right now, the VPN access is free, but you can also start mining this crypto token, which will be used in the future to gain access to the VPN when they put that in place. So if you're an early adopter, you can accrue enough crypto to keep using the VPN service for free. Otherwise, you might have to start out with buying the token and getting started that way. Yeah. But this thing has, it's obviously a lot of issues, potential issues. It's using your broadband, but it has a feature that can throttle your bandwidth. So if you want to set it to, hey, just use 10% of my bandwidth on my local area network, you can do that. So that's good, and I'm sure it's going to evolve more. But a perfect example of what we need to see more of in the crypto blockchain sharing ecosystem. Right. And then we'll move on to cybersecurity updates. We're going to do this one real quick. Canuck sent me this, and I was absolutely horrified by it. Doesn't make me feel good, but Android malware Escobar steals your Google Authenticator MFA codes. If you use Google Authenticator to get into sites, websites, this malware tries to infect your computer, and then they literally create a VNC connection, which is basically a remote graphical user interface connection to your device. Yeah. Where they can do whatever the hell they want. They can take photos, record audio, try to steal your MFA codes, which, if you've got a lot of crypto on exchange and you're using Google Authenticator, they could get in that way. Nice. So it's pretty nasty. Need to be aware of it.
Yeah, when I saw that, I went, whoa, wait, hold on.
So this is all coming from Russian hackers. Yep. They're going to be coming hard for people's crypto around the world.
And your Big Mac, man, they're going to steal your Big Mac, but we'll talk about that later. Sooner.
Yeah, so I mean, this is total war. It's total cyber warfare between Russia and the rest of the world. I think pretty brutal.
Next week we are going to devote a fair amount of time to just the cyber war situation that's going on, because it's all over the map. Of course, we don't have time for that today, but and we were supposed to go over upcoming shows. Are you got more crypto stuff?
We're just going to do a couple more security update stuff, and then we'll do the upcoming topics for live streams. All right. I can't leave out the CCP. Chinese cyber spies target governments with their most advanced backdoor to date. Security researchers have discovered Daxin, D-A-X-I-N, a China-linked stealthy backdoor specifically designed for deployment in hardened corporate networks that feature advanced threat detection capabilities. It hides in legitimate network traffic. Backdoors provide threat actors with remote access to compromised computer systems. Daxin does this by monitoring network traffic on a device for specific patterns. Once these patterns are detected, it will hijack the legitimate TCP connection, which is the language of the internet, and use it to communicate with the command and control server. By hijacking TCP communications, the Daxin malware can hide malicious communication in what is perceived as legitimate traffic and thus remain undetected. So if you're running an intrusion detection system, you need to upgrade your rule set to be able to detect this, because this is real nasty. It's trying to hide itself. The malware is trying to hide itself within legitimate network traffic, so it's pretty nasty.
Yeah, it is.
Real quick article on how artificial intelligence is influencing the arms race in cybersecurity. There are two main ways AI is bolstering cybersecurity. First, AI can help automate many tasks that a human analyst would often handle manually. These include automatically detecting unknown workstations, servers, code repositories, and other hardware and software on the network. Second, AI can help detect patterns within large quantities of data that human analysts can't see. For example, AI could detect the key linguistic patterns of hackers posting emergence threats on the dark web and alert analysis. This AI is really for intrusion detection systems, which I think everybody should start looking at building intrusion detection systems on your local home LAN, your local area network. And I'm actively looking into that, where I would be constantly monitoring my LAN for malware, illegitimate network traffic, stuff like that. It really is needed at the home level, and I don't know why there aren't more companies doing that, but I'm going to look into that, and I'll have a future stream on it.
Okay.
Digital warfare, India in the line of cyber fire. We're not going to go over it and there's also another one. There's another one on Amazon Echoes.
We'll pick this up.
I just want to finish up the cyber updates on this important story. This last one.
Okay.
This is a U.S. hacker. Okay, North Korea hacked him, so he took down its internet.
That guy. Yeah, I love him.
This guy, somewhere in the U.S. Obviously, he doesn't want anybody to know where. But he was disenchanted by a recent last year massive hack that North Korea did on U.S. infrastructure, network infrastructure. So he got pissed off. He wrote some scripts in his home office, and he attacked North Korea's website infrastructure, and he was able to take it down over a long period of time. He just kept on attacking it. Obviously, your average Korean, majority of Koreans do not have internet access, only the elites, and they have this crazy little propaganda network of websites, but he was successful in bringing it down for long periods of time. And then they came after him. They were trying to find him and come after him, so they sent him a vulnerability. He was using a VM, which is what you should always do if you're doing stuff like this, but he was using a virtual environment operating system was in a virtual machine. And he got infected, but only the virtual machine was infected, not his whole network. He contacted the FBI. The FBI was like, "We don't care." And basically, this really shows the U.S. infrastructure is always getting attacked at the network level, and we never. The NSA, the FBI, they never tell us what they do in response.
Of course they don't. They're spies, dude. They're not going to tell you.
Yeah, so you're never going to know what the response is, because they just don't want you to know anything. But this guy is trying to go onto the dark web. If you're interested, P4X is his handle. If you want to try finding him, he's on the dark web. He's trying to bring together a community to go after North Korea directly. And this kind of stuff happens all the time at the national level in China, in Russia, and North Korea. There's people, because they're nationalistic, they're constantly hacking our infrastructure here in the U.S., even at the citizen level. I mean, it's just a nationalistic thing to do for them. But it was good to see that there's somebody here in the U.S. trying to do that. And I just want to end with, we're going to have a future stream on the rise of people like P4X, the rise of the hacktivist community. Perfect example of this was recently with the Canadian trucker convoy, a hacker who may have been tied to a political organization, but a hacker had exposed all the donors, if you remember, all the donors to the Canadian trucker convoy. So there's hacktivists like that doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and I want to get a better idea of that on a future stream. Bring all that together. And it's 5:30. We gotta now discuss upcoming topics for live streams. If you're in the chat, you have an idea for a future show, utilize the chat. Let us know now.
Yeah, we got a few things.
And also, go ahead.
Oh, I'm just saying, obviously, following up on the stuff that we couldn't go into quite as deep with the tech side of life. we've got a few other shows that we're planning on. There's ones that we really want to do, but they're complicated, like what's going on with old growth forest protests up here. I'm working on that directly with some activists, tree huggers, you call them. And we got a few other shows. The one I'm looking for is people that had a really good situation, a really good job, really nice place, sometimes really nice family, and they do something completely stupid they didn't need to do, not profit motive, like Elizabeth Holmes or something, but just because they were being stupid. And we have examples from ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox News, and CNN. And we've got Juicy Boy. We're going to cover him, Jesse Smoltz.
Juicy Smollett.
Yeah, well, he didn't need to do that, but he did. And other examples. That's going to be a fun show. Kind of it'll be similar to our Billionaire Bash that we had at the end of November of last year. And my brain is kicking out.
Well, we're going to do dope. I'm calling it
dope on the rope.
Dope on a rope.
Legal
drug addiction. So doctors,
yes.
Doctors, a vision doctor giving you a script tied to a rope, and they just keep giving you scripts, and they keep pulling you back in. You keep getting the scripts. This happened all the time with OxyContin, and we've had the fallout of that in the courts. Johnson & Johnson is now permanently banned from selling OxyContin, opioids in general. It's a huge epidemic across the United States, and then we'll cover, obviously, Canada, but it's a much bigger problem in the United States.
And the thing is, it hits home for a lot of people because, like my mother, she's the antithesis of being a hippie. She'd never buy illegal drugs. She was going to all these different doctors and getting all these different scripts, and there was no cross-checking. This is in the United States. There was no cross-checking. And she ended up getting all these different scripts, and she was just doing them. And she ended up, we're quite sure, contributed to her demise. And other examples of even Rush Limbaugh, or, people they go, well, I can't be addicted because it's a prescription, as opposed to, junkies. No, they're junkies generally. They got to go on the street and buy that. But that's a different subject. So it's going to be the legal dope on the rope. And that's going to be a good show.
And then the evolution of marijuana laws, I found a really interesting story out of Southern California where a sheriff was confiscating the cash truck armored cars because the marijuana businesses can only deal with cash because of the federal illegal
we'll be discussing that
aspect of marijuana. So the sheriff kept on seizing all these local marijuana dispensaries' cash trucks, and then he would kick it up to the federal government. They would take their cut, and then federal government would throw
back to the sheriff.
A ton of money back to the sheriff, like 70% of the take.
What a scam! Yeah, it's really ridiculous. That would be an upcoming show, and marijuana laws, of course, is legal in Canada on the federal level, but it's not on the federal level, and that's why these dispensaries have to deal in cash. So that'll be a really fun show.
And then we'll have.
And it goes to states.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
States' rights too, right?
Yeah.
States' rights is. Okay, go on.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a huge problem in the long term. Especially in New York City, we're going to be short term, long term. We're going to be covering New York City also. They're right now collecting licenses for people to dispense marijuana, so that's going to be big.
We got some juice. We got some really juicy burgers on that one for you.
And then moving on, we have CCP, Chinese Communist Party, and the elephant in the room. That'll be a future show.
We have to do it. It's ugly, but we have to do it. It's so out of hand, and as bad as the Ukraine situation is, Russia is nowhere near the size of China. So that's going to happen again. And, we got a bunch of different ideas.
And
we're
then
food this year.
Yeah, food, shelter, water.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, wrap up with that. We devoted a whole month to each of those when we first started August, September, and October last year. But this year, we're just going to do all three in one show. But it's the essentials of life for survival. Food, shelter, and water.
And
so
then
we'll be
the
discussing the state of
evolution,
that.
the evolution of energy. The Canuck has been researching this new
Yeah.
geothermal way of drilling deep into the Earth's
All
core
kinds. Yeah, that's a
and
good
bringing up
subject for me.
steam, putting water down there and creating steam.
I've been covering that for a long time. My father used to work for the Atomic Energy Commission and the Energy Research and Development Agency, all of that.
And
so, yeah, I got some good background on that.
And we're also trying to upgrade the presentation of the show because it is starting to get old, it's starting to get a little mundane. So we're working on incorporating Blackmagic design into the show, into the stream, so we can do stuff that's more presentable, and we can also record everything
a little more flash. We're going to put a little
locally.
bit more sizzle on the steak for you people, okay?
Yeah.
You know.
So we're working on that.
Oh, and we're going to do a shout out for anybody that does digital graphic design. We're looking for somebody that can work with us on that for making, cutesy little digital logo things or whatever the heck they're called. Did I get that right? Is that what we're looking for?
Yeah, that kind of stuff. If you're a graphic designer, you're good at creating logos and stuff like that. If you're also graphic designer and you'd want to learn more about NFTs, I'm in the process of getting all that, going down that path, creating NFTs. So we could work together on that.
There you go. There's an opportunity. That's called enterprise, man. That's enterprise. That's what built the economy.
And now it's time for Bizarro News. So we're gonna kick it off with India.
Oh, hang on. I can breathe. Oh, Bizarro. Yeah. It's like Bizarro is like getting in the sauna or something. Just relax and let your mind flow.
So India accidentally fired missile that entered Pakistan, says government. India and Pakistan have been battling each other over parts of Kashmir, some other areas for decades now, if not longer than that. Well, at least in the past 100 years.
Since the partition of India and the fall of the English Empire into East Pakistan, West Pakistan, East Pakistan became Bangladesh, now it's West Pakistan. They've been a constant battle. And actually, that's going to be a subject of an upcoming show, too, of Pakistan, some of the malfeasance there. But yeah, the reason we put it in Bizarro was they're not supposed to do that. Like somebody screwed up, man, and it could have started like a major friggin' war.
Let's play the video. I got to get it to the beginning. Hold on.
Response is to this from the other side.
I'm going to go from the beginning.
In the Indian government statement on firing of a missile into Pakistan, in fact, the government has said that this missile was accidentally fired due to a technical glitch and that a high-level court of inquiry has been ordered. This was, remember, after an unarmed missile was fired accidentally on the 9th of March into Pakistan. This is now a response coming in from the government on this missile that was launched, saying that it was fired accidentally due to a technical glitch and a high-level court of inquiry has been ordered. Those are the details here. Let me go across.
Unarmed missile?
Yeah,
so I guess it didn't have a nuclear warhead on the top of it?
Oh, no, they definitely wouldn't let that happen. But it didn't have an explosive on it. But I like the technical glitch. Like, maybe they got, like, Alexa running it, I mean, come on, get your act together, kids.
The thing is, India is slowly awakening itself to getting involved more and more with geopolitical issues, right? I mean, and then they do something like this. But, I mean, they want to...
It was a technical issue. Unfortunately, it didn't lead to something worse, but I think the reason we put it in Bizarro was just to show how fragile all these systems are. Because let's say, like Iraq accidentally sent a missile into Israel or something because something glitched. That would start a major friggin' war. So that's why it's in Bizarro. And India, I could talk about India for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it's obvious it's obvious India is really building up their military. Because this is happening. They're,
Well, we'll
they're
put that
building
on a
things
future
out,
show.
and they're screwing up at the same time. So that's good to know.
Yeah.
All right. So
the reason, no, I think that for me, the lesson here is if it could happen there, it could happen anywhere, and it could have devastating consequences. So the military really should be getting their act together with their safety protocols. Like the the nuclear weapons are more safely stored, but nevertheless, this is a global security situation. Because, like I say, if Iran accidentally sent a missile into Israel, Israel would immediately respond. They wouldn't call up Tehran and say, "Hey, did you mean to do that?" They just go ahead and fucking annihilate the place. But that's getting serious. So yeah, we'll do that. But
well, moving on, we've got from BBC.com.
This is good. Yeah, no, this is good. Now
US...
I know that listen, a lot of things are carried through borders in people's clothes, and I happen to have personal. Never mind. Personal friends that did that. Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, but this what?
U.S. Border Patrol finds dozens of snakes and reptiles in man's outfit. Dozens of horned lizards and snakes hidden in a man's clothing as he crossed into the U.S. from Mexico last month. The scaly discovered occurred at the San Isidro border crossing near San Diego around 3 a.m. local time on the 25th of February. A man was driving a pickup truck. Officers discovered 43 horned lizards and 9 snakes in plastic bags concealed in the man's jackets, pants, pockets, and groin area, agents said.
Oh, no.
If these snakes were alive, they could have entered one of his orifices. The suspect, identified as a 30-year-old American citizen, was arrested on the suspicion of illegal wildlife smuggling. So this, what? So a U.S. citizen went into Mexico or something and came back in with all these snakes?
Yeah. There's a market
in his groin, nonetheless, and his pockets. Yeah. His groin, pockets, pants, shirt. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I was really surprised the border guards. They're used to finding coke and all that cash. It's like snakes on a plane.
Some of these snakes were endangered. So they must have been. So they had to have been live. So they had to have been live, or at least
they were. Yeah, they were freaking live.
I'm going to go on record right now. Do not try to smuggle a live snake in your groin area.
Well, it might get
you probably end up in a really bad situation, and that's all I'm going to say.
Parental guidance suggested on that one. Anyway, we thought you'd like that. What people will do to make money.
So once again,
I cooked that idea. Maybe you had a friend that said, "Hey man, I can hook you up with some really good snakes. They're worth a lot of money in L.A." Hey.
Yeah, so he's probably stoned and came up with it one day.
Here at the Canuck and Yankee show, we have got a series of Dairy Queen incidences. One in Canada where a guy landed his helicopter to get an ice cream cake. Another from Canada where a guy peed on the counter because he wouldn't wear a mask. And we've had all kinds of dairy. And we have another Dairy Queen Bizarro special from the Canuck and Yankee. This was kind of ugly. But this is called, this kid stabbed her mother.
This is from Mount Union, PA, Pennsylvania. An 18-year-old faces attempted criminal homicide charges after allegedly stabbing his mother at a Dairy Queen in Mount Union and hitting a man with her car on March 3rd. State police said that Caitlin Stutzman, 18, of McVeigh stabbed her mother, Carol Stutzman, 55, inside the Dairy Queen on 224 US 22 at around noon.
Wow.
Police said Carol had multiple stab wounds in the neck and chest area. Both Carol and the 32-year-old man hit by the car were flown to UPMC Altoona for their injuries.
Mm-hmm.
The stabber was taken into custody without incident at her residence. She kind of just stabbed her mother and just went home.
Yeah, well, apparently she got the knife away. Somehow the mother got the knife away, and then she was able to grab. She had another knife ready to go. Then she gets in a car and runs over somebody. and she had a dispute with her mother. This is not a functioning family. I do not think. I mean,
Well, definitely, unfortunately, must be mental health issues. But I don't know, there must be something about Dairy Queen, because it's just...
I don't know. It's weird.
I think this is the fourth, maybe
really,
even fifth Dairy Queen Bizarro we've done. So there's something about Dairy Queen that creates bizarreness.
It does. It
and
does.
grief.
Right? We don't get anything. Like, we don't get anything from Arby's, or we don't get anything from,
McDonald's, Burger King, nothing. It's all Dairy Queen.
I know.
There must be something about it.
Wow. We're going to investigate this. When I'm looking for bizarro news, I just type in Dairy Queen and I usually find something. So there you go.
Well, we do have another bizarre news about McDonald's, which is another fast food slop shop. McDonald's burgers.
About inflation. If you want to talk about inflation, this is serious inflation on the price of a big Whopper, 23,000 rupees. And you said the ruble was 0.7?
No.
0.7 cents, right?
Point 0.00753.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
20. Yeah, 2 zeros before.
Basically, two rubles equals 1 penny. So I did the math on that, and it came out to $115 for a Big Mac. So if it's a 0.7, it's about $100 for a Big Mac. I thought Russia was supposed to be poor. I thought Russia was supposed to be poor or something.
Well,
I mean, $100 for a Big Mac, and now they can't get them.
Well, as I was telling you earlier,
did you know? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
As I was telling you earlier, I saw this videos on YouTube of this Russian woman in like a Russian headdress about how she's happy of the U.S. sanctions, embargo, and all that because she doesn't have to eat horrible fast food like McDonald's or what have you. So there you have it.
To at any time.
And isn't it?
I mean,
and the U.S. never bombs a country that has McDonald's in them. So I think maybe the plan for the U.S. is to get those McDonald's out of Russia.
Oh, so they can
bomb. Yeah, because they can't bomb Russia unless there's no McDonald's there. So maybe that's another conspiracy. I don't know.
Yeah, but check this out. Did you know that McDonald's is paying its staff even though they're laid off? That's kind of pretty unusual. You know, I mean, they shut
paying
down
their staff where? In
Russia.
In Russia? So they're paying the Russian employees that are when they're not working. Oh.
Yeah, when they're laid off Russian employees, like 60,000 of them or something ridiculous like that, and they're paying them. They're paying their wages because they said that the people. What McDonald's said. This is PR, and I read an article about the value of the PR by doing this. See, offsets the cost, the financial cost, because it's actually when a business evaluates themselves. It's not just the finances, but it's how much corporate goodwill do they have? That's as good as money. That's even better than money. So by paying the employees, they're getting more goodwill, and obviously by not selling burgers. But obviously, most people don't agree with that woman you were just talking about because if they're willing to pay $100, people probably have these things stashed. Somebody like
that's right. Yeah, that's what it says here. Look, as a result, people have been flocking at the stores in Russia to get that last bite of Mickey D's. Although the announcement was made to temporarily close the stores, the unprecedented situations create a sense of anxiety amongst people, similar to what happened at the peak of COVID-19. When people started hoarding on tissue papers, blah, blah, blah. Russians are hogging on McDonald's supplies and are selling their stock on the internet at the mind-boggling prices.
Well, there you go.
So
what if it came down to it? All the missiles were sent to Ukraine, all the sanctions. But what took down Putin was the Russian people revolting against Putin because they couldn't get McDonald's. Now we're talking. What the Russian Revolution of 2023 or 2022, whenever it happens, because they couldn't get Big Macs.
Yeah.
That's my
over
prediction.
99 billion served, according to this image.
Well, this could be the tipping point for Vladimir. He might have really screwed up by losing McDonald's. This could be it. It could be over there. I mean, the heck with everything else. But
all right. Well, it is 5:50 p.m. on the East Coast in the Eastern Time Zone.
It went a little long, but it's look at it this way: you lost an hour. Well, you didn't lose an hour last night. You just loaned it because you'll get it back in the fall.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really only 151 on the West Coast, not 251. But that's only if you're not on daylight time, so whatever. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching, folks. We really appreciate it. And like I say, we're trying to upgrade so we look a little flashier and get more listeners and viewers. But it's the content. So you got any ideas for the show, feedback? If you like us, you hate us, you want us to do something, let us know. variant-news.com/contact. Thank you.
All right. So we're just going to switch back to webcam view one last time. Say goodbye. I guess Jack Bug 1344 has been having issues with Facebook. He's been saying in the chat, can't get. He's been locked out of his Facebook account. My advice to you is just leave Facebook in the dust. It's not worth it. We were streaming Variant News on a Facebook group, and it lasted 3 months before they just outright banned our account. Then they were asking for pictures and personal information and phone numbers, and I was like, no, I'm not going down that road.
We don't need to.
Yeah, Facebook is, I don't know.
It's good.
I think open a new account
Facebook is
or
good.
what?
I think Facebook is good for what it started out as, a very basic way to stay in touch with your friends. And all the other stuff is just not really a good idea. There's other platforms you can use, people.
Well, yeah, one option, I mean, if you had a lot of contacts on there, that's an issue, but I guess try to get back on and then try to export all your contacts and then move on to another platform.
Somebody's going to come up with a Facebook alternative that just almost mirrors them. And
that's the main thing is all your contacts on Facebook. That's definitely for everybody out there. You may have stopped using Facebook, but it does make sense if you can still get into your account to just go in and just you can back up your entire Facebook account. They have some option that they did put in. So it would make sense to do that. Just go in, get and archive all your data, all your contacts. So when Facebook eventually does disappear, whenever that is, 5-10 years, whatever the hell it is, you'll have at least all your contacts.
Yeah, well. And by the way, we are also, in our upcoming shows, we're going to give an update on all the different social media platforms that exist out there and what's going on with them, and as close as we can figure out who owns them and controls them, and the good, the bad, and ugly, the social media, on an upcoming show. We got a lot of shows for you folks. So thanks a lot for watching us and listening and contributing, and there you go.
Yeah, and so we'll be back next Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, and look out for Cryptopia, my crypto show.
Watch it.
Monday evenings around 8 p.m. Eastern.
Listen and learn.
So definitely check that out, and I'll have additional shows through the week also. So look out for that.
Yep.
Appreciate the support, and we'll see everybody on the flip side. Take care.
Yep.
My dream.